Story 1. I've been working as a pharmacy technician at Metamart for 3 years now, ever since I finished my certification program at the community college. It's decent work with good benefits, and I like helping people get the medications they need. My mom has diabetes, and I saw how important it was for her to have reliable pharmacy service, so this job feels meaningful to me. Most of our customers are regulars, elderly folks picking up their monthly medications, parents getting antibiotics for their kids, people managing chronic conditions. The work can be stressful because we're dealing with people's health, but usually everyone understands we have rules and procedures to follow for everyone's safety. This particular incident happened on a busy Thursday afternoon. I was working behind the counter with our head pharmacist when this woman approached with a prescription bottle that looked pretty old and worn. She slammed it down on the counter without saying hello or anything. "Karen, I need this refilled right now." I picked up the bottle to examine it. The label was faded, but I could see it was for a controlled substance, specifically a pain medication that requires strict documentation. I can help you with that. I'll just need to see your ID first." "Karen, my ID. I don't need to show you anything. Just fill the prescription." "I'm sorry, but for controlled substances, we're required by law to check identification. It's for everyone's safety." "Karen, that's ridiculous. I've been taking this medication for years." "I understand, but the regulations apply to everyone. If you could just show me your driver's license or another form of ID, we can process this right away." "Karen, I don't have my ID with me, and I'm not going home to get it. You need to fill this prescription immediately." The pharmacist stepped over to help since she was getting agitated. Pharmacist: "Ma'am, we absolutely cannot dispense controlled substances without proper identification. It's federal law." "Karen, I don't care about your laws. I'm in pain and I need my medication." Pharmacist: "If you're having a medical emergency, I'd recommend going to the emergency room. But we cannot break federal regulations." "Karen, this is discrimination. You're denying me medical care." She was getting louder, and other customers were starting to stare. I could see people in line behind her looking uncomfortable. "If you'd like to come back with your ID, we'll be happy to help you then." "Karen, no, I'm not leaving without my pills." That's when she did something I'd never seen before. She grabbed a shopping cart from near the pharmacy entrance and wheeled it into the middle of the pain relief aisle, right next to where we keep the over-the-counter medications. "Karen, I'm not moving until you give me what I came for." She then started pulling products off the shelves and stacking them around the cart like she was building some kind of fort. "Karen, this is my spot now. I'll stay here as long as it takes." Other customers were trying to get around her to reach medications, but she had effectively blocked the entire aisle. "Ma'am, you can't block the aisle like that. Other people need to shop." "Karen, they can wait. My needs come first." She grabbed more boxes of bandages and cough drops, creating what looked like a makeshift barricade. People were having to go all the way around to the next aisle to get anything. Customer: "Excuse me, I just need to get some aspirin." "Karen, find another store. I'm conducting business here." The pharmacist called our store manager while I tried to keep the situation from getting worse. "Manager: Ma'am, I'm going to need you to clear this aisle and either make a purchase or leave the store." "Karen, I'm making a purchase. I'm buying prescription medication that these people won't sell me." Manager: "Without proper ID, we cannot dispense controlled substances. That's not negotiable." "Karen, then I'm not moving. This is a peaceful protest against pharmaceutical tyranny." She had now been sitting in the shopping cart for about 15 minutes, surrounded by products she'd pulled off the shelves. The aisle looked like a tornado had hit it. "Manager, I'm calling security. This is trespassing, and you're preventing other customers from shopping." "Karen, call whoever you want. I know my rights." Security arrived, along with a police officer who happened to be shopping in the store. The whole situation had attracted quite a crowd. "Officer: Ma'am, you need to exit that aisle and either leave the store or shop normally." Karen, I'm not leaving until they sell me my medication without jumping through bureaucratic hoops. Officer, do you have identification with you? Karen, I shouldn't need it. I'm a regular customer. Officer, for controlled substances, Idaho is required by federal law. The pharmacy is following proper procedures. Karen, this is medical discrimination against people who don't carry ID. It took 3 people to physically remove her from the shopping cart and escort her out of the store. She was shouting the entire time about her constitutional rights and how we were violating the Americans with Disabilities Act. The officer explained that she was being trespassed from the store and could face criminal charges if she returned. Karen, you'll all be sorry when my lawyer hears about this. I'm suing for medical negligence. After she left, we spent an hour restocking the aisle and filling out incident reports. The whole thing was captured on security cameras, which was good because we needed documentation for the police report. 2 days later, we found out she had tried the same thing at 3 other pharmacies in town. Apparently, she'd been going from store to store trying to get controlled substances without ID, and when that didn't work, she'd cause scenes to try to pressure staff into breaking regulations. The police investigation revealed she didn't even have a valid prescription. The bottle she was carrying was over 2 years old and had belonged to someone else entirely. She was arrested for attempted prescription fraud and banned from every pharmacy chain in the city. The whole incident became required training material for new pharmacy staff about handling difficult customers while maintaining legal compliance. We still joke about the shopping cart barricade lady whenever someone gets unreasonable about ID requirements. Story 2. I've been teaching music for 8 years now, and I thought I'd seen every type of difficult parent. The helicopter parents, the pushy stage parents, the ones who think their kid is the next Mozart. But I'd never encountered anyone who claimed musical instruments were attacking their spiritual energy field. I started teaching right after I finished my music education degree. Always loved playing violin since I was 7, and teaching seemed like the perfect way to share that passion with the next generation. Most days I work at the local elementary school, but I also give private lessons at a community center downtown to supplement my income. The community center is a great place to teach. They have several small practice rooms and the acoustics are decent. I've been using the same room every Tuesday and Thursday evening for 3 years. It's nothing fancy, just a piano, some music stands, and chairs. Perfect for violin lessons. My student that night was 8-year-old Tommy, a sweet kid who'd been taking lessons for about 6 months. He was working on a simple folk song and doing pretty well for his age. We were about 20 minutes into the lesson when this woman burst through the door without knocking. Karen, excuse me. Me, I'm sorry, but I'm in the middle of a lesson. Can this wait until we're finished? Karen, no, it cannot wait. Do you realize what you're doing in here? Me, teaching violin. Karen, you're creating negative vibrations that are completely disrupting my meditation session. I looked at Tommy, who seemed confused and a little scared by this woman's aggressive tone. Me, I'm sorry, but we reserved this room for lessons. There should be signs on the door. Karen, I don't care about your signs. I'm trying to align my chakras in the room next door, and that screeching is making it impossible. Tommy's face fell. He was actually playing quite well for his age, and calling it screeching was unnecessarily cruel. Me, ma'am, we'll be done in about 20 minutes. Maybe you could try meditating somewhere else? Karen, I've been coming to this center for 3 months. I always meditate in that room at this exact time. My spiritual advisor says consistency is crucial for aura maintenance. Me, I understand, but we have this room booked for lessons every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Karen, well, you need to change your schedule. My meditation is more important than some kid playing around with a toy. Tommy looked like he might cry. His violin wasn't a toy, it was a decent student instrument that his parents had saved up to buy. Me, this is a legitimate music lesson. Tommy works very hard, and he's making great progress. Karen, progress at what? making horrible noises. That's not music, that's just chaos. And chaos disrupts spiritual energy. Me, he's 8 years old and he's learning. Everyone sounds rough when they're starting out. Karen, I don't care how old he is. The universe doesn't make exceptions for age when it comes to energy alignment. She walked over to where Tommy was holding his violin and suddenly smacked the instrument right out of his hands. It hit the floor hard and I heard something crack. Tommy started crying immediately. The violin's bridge had snapped and there was a crack along the side of the body. Me, what is wrong with you? You just destroyed an 8-year-old's instrument. Karen, I didn't destroy anything. I simply removed a source of negative energy from my environment. Me, that violin cost his parents $600. Karen, then maybe they should have bought him something that doesn't interfere with other people's spiritual practice. Tommy was sobbing now, trying to pick up the pieces of his broken violin. Me, you're going to pay to replace this instrument. Karen, I'm not paying for anything. If they can't control their child's noise pollution, that's their problem. Me, this is a music room at a community center. Making music is literally what it's for. Karen, my meditation is just as valid as your so-called music lessons. I called the center's director while trying to comfort Tommy. When the director arrived and saw the broken violin, she was furious. Director, what happened here? Karen, this woman was letting a child create negative vibrations that were interfering with my spiritual practice. Director, so you broke his violin? Karen, I removed a source of energetic disruption. That's completely within my rights as someone seeking spiritual balance. Director, that's destruction of property. You're banned from this facility. Karen, you can't ban me for protecting my aura. This is discrimination against people of spiritual sensitivity. The police were called and Karen was charged with destruction of property. She kept insisting that she was the victim of spiritual oppression and that musical instruments were weapons of energetic warfare. Tommy's parents were understanding and filed a claim through their insurance, but the whole incident really shook him up. It took several weeks before he felt comfortable playing again. The community center installed locks on all the practice room doors after that incident. They also put up signs explaining that music making is the primary purpose of those rooms. Karen tried to sue the center for failing to protect her meditation space, but the judge dismissed the case immediately. She also started an online petition to ban aggressive musical instruments from public spaces, but only got 12 signatures. Tommy kept taking lessons and eventually became one of my best students. He still remembers the crazy lady who broke his violin, but now he can laugh about it. I've had plenty of difficult parents over the years, but she was the first one to blame musical education for disrupting the cosmic energy field. Story 3. I've been the house manager at Riverside Community Theater for 8 years now. It's a small but well-respected venue that puts on about 6 productions per year, ranging from classic dramas to modern comedies. My job involves everything from coordinating ushers to handling difficult patrons to making sure performances run smoothly. In all my years here, I've dealt with plenty of disruptive audience members. People who answer their phones during shows, talk loudly to their companions, or even heckle performers. We have standard procedures for these situations: quiet warnings, escorting people out if necessary, and in extreme cases, calling security. But what happened during our production of Romeo and Juliet last Saturday night was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. We were in the middle of our 3-week run, and this particular performance was going beautifully. The actors had really hit their stride, and the audience was completely engaged. We were approaching the final tragic scene where both Romeo and Juliet die, which is obviously the climax of the entire play. I was standing in the back of the theater, as I always do during performances, keeping an eye on the audience and making sure everything was running smoothly. The actor playing Romeo had just delivered his final lines and taken the poison, and Juliet was about to wake up and discover his body. That's when I noticed a woman in the 3rd row standing up. At first, I thought maybe she was feeling sick or needed to use the restroom urgently. But instead of heading toward the exit, she started walking toward the stage. I quickly made my way down the aisle to intercept her, but she was moving faster than I expected. She actually climbed up onto the stage right in the middle of the scene. "Woman, stop. This is all wrong." The actress playing Juliet froze mid-line. The entire theater went silent except for the background music, which our sound technician quickly faded out. "Ma'am, you need to return to your seat immediately." "Woman, no, this ending is terrible. Romeo and Juliet should live happily ever after." She was standing right in the middle of the set, addressing both the actors and the audience. "Woman, why does everyone have to die? This is supposed to be entertainment." Ma'am, this is Shakespeare's original script. Please come with me so the performance can continue." "Woman, I don't care who wrote it. It's depressing. Change it to something happier." The actors were still in character, but clearly didn't know what to do. Our Romeo was lying dead on the stage, trying not to move, while Juliet was standing there holding the prop dagger. "Woman, Juliet, don't kill yourself. Just wake Romeo up instead." She actually walked over and started shaking the actor playing Romeo. "Woman, get up. The audience doesn't want to see you dead." Ma'am, I'm calling security. You need to leave the stage right now." "Woman, this whole play needs to be rewritten. Everyone in the audience agrees with me." She turned to address the crowd directly. "Woman, don't you all want a happy ending? Why should we pay money to watch people die?" A few people in the audience actually started laughing, thinking this might be part of the show somehow. Others were clearly annoyed and wanted the performance to continue. Audience member: "Lady, sit down. We came here to see Shakespeare." "Woman, Shakespeare was wrong. Love stories should have happy endings." Our security guard, who had been stationed in the lobby, finally made it onto the stage. Security: "Ma'am, I need you to come with me right now." "Woman, I'm improving this play. These actors should thank me." She pointed at our Juliet. "Woman, you don't have to die. Just kiss Romeo and wake him up like Sleeping Beauty." Security: "Ma'am, if you don't leave voluntarily, the police will be called." "Woman, the police? For trying to make theater better? This is artistic censorship." It took both the security guard and myself to escort her off the stage, while she continued shouting suggestions for how to fix the ending. "Woman, at least let them get married and move to the suburbs. Why does everything have to be so tragic?" After we got her out of the theater and banned her from the premises, I returned to address the audience. "Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for that interruption. Our actors will now continue with Shakespeare's original ending." The cast handled the situation with incredible professionalism. They took a moment to get back into character, and our Romeo managed to die again convincingly. The audience actually applauded their recovery, and the rest of the performance went off without any problems. Later, I learned that the woman had been drinking at the restaurant next door before the show, which explained some of her behavior. She was charged with disturbing the peace and trespassing. The best part came the next day when our local theater critic wrote a review praising how professionally our cast handled the unscripted interruption. He called it a testament to their training and dedication that they stayed in character despite the chaos. The incident actually generated some positive publicity for our theater. Ticket sales for the remaining performances sold out, with many people hoping to see another disruption. Of course, we made sure that didn't happen by increasing security and checking IDs more carefully at the door. Sometimes the most memorable theater experiences are the ones that don't go according to script. Story 4. I've been working at Ikea for 4 years now, starting as a sales associate and recently getting promoted to department supervisor for the kitchen showroom. The job has its challenges helping customers navigate our massive warehouse, explaining assembly instructions, and dealing with the occasional frustrated person who can't figure out our Swedish naming system. But overall, I enjoy it. There's something satisfying about helping people create functional, affordable living spaces. Our store gets all kinds of customers. Families setting up their first apartments, college students buying dorm furniture, and design enthusiasts looking for that perfect Scandinavian aesthetic. Most people understand they're shopping in a furniture store with specific policies and procedures. Last Saturday started as a typical busy weekend. The store was packed with families taking advantage of our spring sale, and I was stationed in the kitchen showroom, helping customers understand different cabinet configurations and countertop options. Around 11 in the morning, I noticed this woman in her 50s wheeling in what looked like a large cart covered with a tarp. She was struggling to maneuver it through the showroom displays, bumping into fake kitchen islands and knocking over some of our smaller accessories. She parked her cart in the middle of our most popular kitchen display, the one designed to look like a cozy Swedish farmhouse with white cabinets, butcher block counters, and hanging copper pots. Excuse me, ma'am. Can I help you find something specific today? Karen. Yes, I'm looking for the authentic Swedish experience. I heard Ikea was supposed to be genuinely Swedish, but this all looks pretty fake to me. I explained that while we're a Swedish company, our showrooms are designed to showcase furniture configurations rather than provide cultural experiences. She seemed disappointed by this answer. Karen. Well, that's false advertising then. You call yourself Swedish, but you don't provide any real Swedish culture. She started walking around the kitchen display, opening cabinet doors, turning faucet handles, and generally treating it like a real kitchen instead of a showroom. Karen, these aren't even real appliances. How am I supposed to test if this kitchen actually works for Swedish cooking? The displays are meant to show how the furniture fits together. You can purchase the items and set up a functional kitchen at home. Karen, that's not good enough. I want to experience authentic Swedish lifestyle right here, right now. That's when she pulled the tarp off her cart, revealing a portable gas grill, a cooler full of what appeared to be raw ground meat, and various cooking supplies. Ma'am, you can't bring cooking equipment into the store. This is a furniture showroom, not a kitchen. Karen, this is supposed to be a Swedish store, and Swedish people eat meatballs. If you want to call yourself authentic, you need to provide authentic experiences. Before I could stop her, she started wheeling the grill into position next to the display's fake sink. She began setting it up like she was in her own backyard, completely ignoring the fact that we were in the middle of a busy furniture store. Karen, I researched Swedish meatball recipes online. I'm going to cook them right here in your Swedish kitchen to test if this setup actually works for traditional Swedish cooking. Ma'am, I need you to stop. You cannot operate cooking equipment in our showroom. This violates health codes and safety regulations. She waved me off and continued assembling her grill. Other customers were starting to gather around, some taking pictures with their phones, others looking concerned about the growing smell of propane. Karen, authentic Swedish meatballs require proper cooking techniques. I'm providing a valuable service by testing your kitchen designs with actual Swedish cuisine. I called for my manager while she opened her cooler and started forming raw ground meat into balls with her bare hands, right there on our display countertop. Karen, this counter space is completely inadequate for proper meatball preparation. A real Swedish kitchen would have more prep area. By now, a small crowd had gathered. Some people were amused, others were backing away from the raw meat and growing propane smell. A family with small children looked particularly concerned. Customer, is this part of some kind of demonstration? No, this is not authorized by the store. Ma'am, please stop handling raw meat in our showroom. She ignored me and fired up the grill. The smell of propane and the sound of sizzling filled the kitchen showroom area. She had actually brought a full set of cooking utensils and was treating our display like her personal kitchen. Karen, now this is what I call an authentic Swedish experience. This is how Ikea should operate all the time. My manager arrived just as she was flipping her first batch of meatballs. He took one look at the scene and immediately called security. Manager: "Ma'am, you need to turn off that grill immediately. You cannot cook food in our showroom." Karen: "Why not? You people claim to be Swedish, but you don't even let customers experience authentic Swedish culture. This is what Swedish kitchens are for." She continued cooking while arguing here as if preparing meatballs in a furniture store was the most natural thing in the world. Karen: "I spent 3 hours researching traditional Swedish meatball recipes. I even bought lingonberry sauce to make this completely authentic." Security arrived along with the fire department, who had apparently been called by someone concerned about the propane grill being used indoors. The smell of cooking meat was now spreading throughout our entire section of the store. Security officer: "Ma'am, you need to turn off the grill and remove your cooking equipment immediately." Karen: "This is discrimination against Swedish culture. I'm trying to bring authentic Swedish experiences to your customers." She tried explaining her theory about how furniture stores should provide cultural immersion experiences, but the fire department wasn't interested in her philosophy. Fire chief: "Ma'am, operating gas grills inside commercial buildings is a serious fire hazard. You're violating multiple safety codes." While they were talking, her meatballs were starting to burn and set off smoke alarms. The sprinkler system nearly activated, which would have flooded half the showroom. They forced her to turn off the grill and started escorting her toward the exit. She grabbed a handful of her partially cooked meatballs and started offering them to other customers. Karen: "Here, try these authentic Swedish meatballs. This is what Ikea should be serving instead of their fake cafeteria food." Nobody took her meatballs, and security had to physically prevent her from approaching families with children while holding raw meat. As they escorted her out, she was still arguing that Ikea was false advertising by calling itself Swedish without providing authentic cultural experiences. Karen: "You people don't understand Swedish culture at all. Real Swedish furniture stores would let customers cook traditional food." The police arrived as they were loading her grill back onto her cart. She tried filing a complaint about cultural discrimination and false advertising, but they were more concerned about the health code violations and fire hazards. She was banned from our store permanently and cited for multiple violations. The health department had to inspect our entire kitchen showroom area because of the raw meat contamination. The best part came 2 weeks later when she posted a negative review online, complaining that Ikea doesn't provide authentic Swedish cultural experiences and that customers should be allowed to cook traditional food in the showrooms to properly test the furniture. Most people who read her review just commented asking if she was serious about bringing a grill into a furniture store. Some suggested she visit Sweden if she wanted authentic cultural experiences. Our store manager now jokes about adding a disclaimer that our showrooms are for furniture display only, not cultural immersion experiences. Some people really believe customer service means accommodating any request, no matter how ridiculous. Story 5. I've been working at the ice cream shop for about 8 months now. It's my first real job since I turned 16 last year. My parents said if I wanted a car, I had to earn the money myself. So here I am scooping ice cream and making milkshakes after school and on weekends. It's not bad work most of the time. The other employees are cool, and I've gotten pretty good at making the fancy milkshakes with all the toppings. The shop is in a busy part of town, so we get all kinds of customers. Families with little kids who can never decide what flavor they want, teenagers hanging out after school, and older people who come in for the sugar-free options. Most people are pretty nice, but working in customer service has definitely opened my eyes to how rude some people can be. Our shop switched to paper straws about 3 months ago. It was a corporate decision to be more environmentally friendly. We put up signs explaining the change, and most customers don't really care. Some people even say they're happy we're trying to help the environment. But every once in a while, someone gets really upset about it. Yesterday was a busy Saturday afternoon. I was working behind the counter with my coworker when this woman came in. She looked like she was in her 40s, wearing workout clothes and carrying one of those expensive water bottles with motivational quotes on it. She had blonde highlights and this really intense look on her face. She walked straight up to the counter without looking at the menu. "Karen, I need a large chocolate peanut butter milkshake, extra thick, and make sure you use a plastic straw." Me, "Sure, I can make that milkshake for you. But we only have paper straws now. We switched a few months ago." "Karen, what do you mean you only have paper straws?" Me, "We stopped using plastic straws to be more environmentally friendly. The paper ones work just as well." Karen, "No, they don't work just as well. Paper straws get soggy and ruin the taste of the drink." Me, "I understand your concern, but that's all we have. Would you still like the milkshake?" Karen, "Fine. But I'm not happy about this." I started making her milkshake, blending the ice cream and peanut butter until it was the perfect consistency. I poured it into a large cup, added whipped cream and a cherry on top, and stuck one of our paper straws in it. It looked perfect. I handed her the milkshake, and she immediately pulled out the paper straw to examine it. "Karen, this is completely unacceptable." Me, "Is there something wrong with the milkshake?" Karen, "Yes, there's something wrong. You're sabotaging my diet with this paper straw." I stared at her, completely confused. Me, "I'm sorry. I don't understand how the straw affects your diet." Karen, "Paper straws make you drink slower. That means the milkshake sits in the cup longer and melts more. When it melts, the calories get more concentrated." Me, "That's not really how calories work. The milkshake has the same amount of calories whether you drink it fast or slow." Karen, "Don't you dare tell me how calories work. I've been on diets longer than you've been alive." My coworker heard the yelling and came over to see what was happening. Coworker, "Is everything okay over here?" Karen, "No, everything is not okay. This kid is trying to ruin my diet by forcing me to use a paper straw." Coworker, "Ma'am, we're happy to refund your money if you're not satisfied with the milkshake." Karen, "I don't want a refund. I want a plastic straw." Me, "We don't have any plastic straws. We got rid of them all when we made the switch." Karen, "Then go buy some. There's a convenience store right down the street." Me, "I can't leave work to buy straws from another store." That's when she completely lost it. She started yelling about how we were all incompetent and how we didn't care about our customers. Karen, "You people are deliberately trying to make me gain weight. This is sabotage." Other customers in the shop were starting to stare. A family with 2 little kids moved to a table further away from the counter. Me, "Ma'am, I need you to lower your voice. You're disturbing other customers." Karen, "I'll use whatever voice I want. You're tampering with my diet." She held up the milkshake and pointed at the paper straw like it was evidence of some crime. Karen, "This paper straw is going to make me fat. Do you understand that? You're making me fat." Me, "The straw doesn't change the nutritional content of the milkshake." Karen, "Stop lying to me." Before I could react, she pulled back her arm and threw the entire milkshake right at me. The chocolate and peanut butter mixture hit me square in the chest, covering my uniform and dripping onto the floor. Karen, "Maybe next time you'll think twice before tampering with someone's diet." I stood there in shock, covered in milkshake, while everyone in the shop stared at us. My coworker immediately grabbed the phone to call our manager. Coworker, "I'm calling the police. You just assaulted a minor." Karen, "I didn't assault anyone. I was defending myself against dietary sabotage." Other customers started speaking up. Customer 1, "Lady, you just threw a milkshake at a teenager over a straw." Customer 2, "That's completely insane behavior." Karen, "You people don't understand. Paper straws are a conspiracy to make people drink slower and gain weight." My manager showed up within 5 minutes. She took one look at me covered in milkshake and the mess on the floor, then looked at the woman who was still ranting about straws and calories. Manager, "What happened here?" Coworker, "This customer threw a milkshake at him because we don't have plastic straws." Manager, ma'am, you need to leave this store immediately. Karen, I'm not leaving until someone gives me a plastic straw. Manager, you assaulted my employee. I'm calling the police right now. That's when she finally realized she might be in actual trouble. Her whole attitude changed. Karen, wait, it was just a milkshake. It's not like I hurt him. Manager, you threw food at a 16-year-old kid over a straw. That's assault. The police showed up about 10 minutes later. By then, other customers had given statements about what they saw, and someone had even recorded part of it on their phone. The officer listened to everyone's story, looked at me still covered in milkshake, and shook his head. Officer, ma'am, you're under arrest for assault. Karen, this is ridiculous. It was just a milkshake. He was tampering with my diet. As they put handcuffs on her, she was still yelling about paper straws and calories. Even when they put her in the police car, I could see her mouth moving, probably still explaining her conspiracy theory about straws making people fat. My manager let me go home early to shower and change clothes. She said the woman would be banned from the store and that corporate would probably press charges. I went back to work the next day, and everything was normal again. But now, whenever someone complains about the paper straws, I just smile and think about how much worse it could be.